Hi, and welcome back to Decision Sandbox. Today we're going to talk about some of the Excel tricks that went into building that Stanford SDG model that we saw in the last episode. I'd like to go one level deeper and look at just some of the Excel tricks that make the model a little easier to read and don't cause too much complications. Anyway, so let's jump into it. The decision table, it's a nice place to look and say, okay, let's decision is going to be number one, or and you select, or number two. Number two is line extension, and you can walk your way through all the different decisions. This all is tied to this variable called the decision. Notice it's a named range called the decision right there. And the way that works, the way things show up, is that the line extension, oops, why is that not showing up? There. That was strange, didn't see it. Anyway, you've got an index function and you've got strategy names and the decision as the thing. So the way that works is you've got strategy names, and I happen to know that it's this selection here. Note that that's strategy names. And then the index function, based on the decision, can walk through and select the different variables. And there's your equation right there. So index, strat names, and the decision walks you through. Another really cool place where things are selected is down in the strategy table. And note that strategy table also keys off of index with the decision as one of the variables. The double comma here just means that the rows are not relevant. It just needs to walk across to the right. In fact, let me blow that screen up. Walk across to the right as you want to select your different combinations of decisions. And recall that when you've got a cluster of decisions to be made, that's what we're defining as a strategy. So we can look here, and we're at decision number 2, which would be line extension. So if you follow down here, that the value in use is identical to this strategy here, this pattern of decisions, and then that can go elsewhere in the model. And so then let's just click here. You've got strategy table inputs. That's this whole table here, and then it selects according to the decision. Okay, what else we got? Let's see. Let's get the other screen. Okay. Okay. Next up, we've got the decision calculations and the range names. So I want to show you here. This is outlining. So we've collapsed. Notice that's column G and that's column U. We condense them down, so we just show the first and the last. And remember, last time we talked about the equations being the same all the way across in each row. If they're the same, we don't need to show them, but just for interest, we can show the first and the last and what the variables are. But let's expand it. Just take a look. This is so the way this works. The range names, they're very faint here. There's a ramp in this one. So ramps, you've got let's see, you're working your way up. This equation here is ramp. So you got your way a third of the way up, 2/3, and then full, and then when you're maxed for a while, and then there's also a ramp on the other end where you're ramping down. And yeah, these ramps, there's a nice equation here that helps set that based on the parameters. Very good way to do those shapes. The other thing is we've got a variable name here, the way it's set up, and let me just show what it is. So this has been named, and it'll say variable cost turbo. And let's just find that with formulas and named rangefinder. And again, the variable name is variable cost turbo. So most of the way down here, what do we got? Variable cost turbo. It's that one. So there's the variable. And now if we go in there, we can just add, to show you and demonstrate what happens here. I want to delete that. So I'm just going to delete that. Are you sure? Yeah, we're going to delete that. And then we notice that all the equations after that that happen to use that variable, they can't find it. So you get an error. So what we can do in the easy way to assign these, it's a very powerful command. You say, okay, select this. You got all the data selected from the beginning, first column to the last column, and the name on the right. And then you say Alt, hit the Alt button, Alt-I, and then N, and then C, like incorporated, INC. And it'll say, where do you want that from? It's a little bit smart. It says right column, yes, because that's where we're pulling the name from. Other times I have used the left column as my default, but this model uses the right. So we're going to say OK. And notice that variable name reappears. And let's just confirm that with the name manager. And take our way down here. So even though we had deleted it, where is it? Yeah, variable cost turbo, it's back again. So that's, in fact, if you had to do it, it won't hurt to just redo them again. So the way you select that, you can select this big group from the first column to the last column, and then include the range name on the right. Say Alt-I and C, and it says right column, and you say yeah. And that's how you would name all these ranges individually based on what was in this column, the contents of that column. Okay, next. How to delete them, how to use them. Relative range names. I used to think they were kind of clever. I'm not recommending that now just because it makes it harder to audit. Well, let me just show you. It's so scrolling down. Let's look at this decline period. Okay, this variable we got index, the range, the index, again, the index function. It's very handy, and it picks here and here. This is just the way that this one's been set up. It's been set up such that it's relative. So how do I show that? Let's go to formulas and name manager and take it down again to the range, or let's see, the range, the index. And if you look carefully in here, what does it refer to? Instead of having dollar signs in front of the address to freeze them, like in most of the cells, this lets them float. But when I hesitate to use it because it's hard to understand. I mean, range names are enough of a challenge. This is kind of like an advanced ninja or some sort of magical thing. I wouldn't recommend it. The relative, they were interesting, they were fun, but I would rather just stick to the hardwired cells. Okay, what else? Let's see. All right, discount. Okay, and then I want to show you a couple different ways to discount. And in fact, let me just talk about something else here. Net present value is what this model used in teaching the class. It's a nice, streamlined, simple way, but also you can use rate of return or capital efficiency. And the one I'm the most familiar with is discounted profitability index, where you take the NPV and minus the present value of investment and divide that, or add the present value of investment and divide that by present value of the investment, and you get a number such that, so if it says 1.5, that means you're 50% above the cost of capital. If you just say NPV divided by PV, then 0.5, it would be 50% above. That's maybe too much detail to go into for this discussion, but just be aware that it's a really good variable actually. And so rather than just saying if you got two projects, they both have a 500 million NPV, well, that's great, but one of them gets by with half the capex. Well, how do you say, wow, they got the same NPV? Well, you do that in terms of efficiency. So you divide it by the present value of the capital invested. And if one of them is 100 million, one of them is 200 million, then you would say that the one that took less capital to get that same NPV was more efficient, and you would absolutely pick that one over the other one unless you had some other strategic reason to do that. What else we got? Okay, different ways of doing discounting. Let's go into the calculations. The way they recommended in this class was to create a discount factor. So all these numbers are in the nominal dollars or dollars of the day, just the dollars by name, and rather than real dollars. So economists frequently their models are done with real dollars, and these are done with just actual dollars, dollars of the day, or nominal dollars. And the way you convert that and discount that is to create this discount factor. So within that, you've got 1 over 1 plus the quantity discount rate raised to the power year minus year. So that's your discounting factor. And then you convert that to say, here's your discounted cash flow. And then your simple calculation at the end is just a summation of that. Now, the way I've been more accustomed to doing it is, where's a better example? There we go. NPV using just the built-in function, and then you add the very first period at the end. That's the way I've come to know it. Either way is fine, but just be aware that there are a couple different ways to get NPV. I like this way better because I can more easily and straightforwardly do mid-period discounting. Internal rate of return is just the IRR function with from Excel on the total cash flow, and that number there, that's just a guess for what your rate of return might be. And I think I started at maybe 10%. But obviously these 112%, this is not a realistic model. This is more of just a kind of a play model. And then also you get your discounted profitability index. And this would be phenomenal. People would be just throwing money at projects like this. It depends on what you want. If you want to say, I need to have at least 50% above, maybe your DPI would be 1.5. And then that would be a go, no go. Or maybe you would rank your projects. If you had a bunch of different projects to compare in your portfolio, and you would sort them by DPA, and then if you had no other strategic reason to pick one versus another one, you might just start picking them by the highest DPI, and then as you worked your way down the row of lower and lower DPIs, you'd go until you ran out of capital for that particular year or that particular period. So anyway, I just want to go into some of the details of this sheet. It's a little too complex for what I'd like to show about this. So next episode, I'm going to talk about creation of a simpler model to do cash flow. Okay, thanks for listening.